Hi guys, my name's Ian and I'm the head coach at Tri Club, and I'm here today with Yiannis Christodoulou. And Yiannis is a national and European age group champion in aquathlon, and I believe he's also trying to achieve similar feats in triathlon. So welcome Yiannis, thanks for joining us.
Hiya, thanks for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Now, Yiannis, with all my guests, I get them to introduce themselves and to talk a little bit about their journey in sport to date. So I was just wondering if you could do that for me.
Okay, so my name is Yiannis Christodoulou. Basically, in 2012, I had no sporting background. I used to play five-a-side with friends now and again, every other week. So I watched the Olympics. Was home from work, and I remember watching the triathlon and thinking, oh, how good is this? And actually thought, oh, it's amazing, and saw the Brownlee brothers. Did not have a clue who they were or what the triathlon was all about, but really thought it was really good. The Olympics basically inspired me to take up sport, and my best mate had recently did a 10K back in July that year, and I think it was just before the Olympics, and he was like, "Oh, should we join a running club?" So we went looking at clubs, emailed, and I ended up going. We ended up joining Canterbury Running Club. So that's where it all really begun for me, and we joined in September. So I started as a runner. Struggled, kept getting injured, pretty much doing stuff too soon, too quick, and getting some serious injuries. Talk a bit about them in a bit. And then I ended up started swimming as well at the end of the year. I couldn't swim, so I had to start from scratch basically. And then in 2015, I decided to try an aquathlon, a local aquathlon. I come back off my honeymoon, and there was one that evening, so I was pretty much jet lagged. I was doing some testing for a sports study at the time, and the guy, he's a doctor in science. He turned around and said to me, "I don't advise you to go and train. You'll get injured. Go and race. You'll get injured." I was like, "Oh, no, I don't want to do it." So I decided to do it, and then I think at the time they had qualifying times for aquathlon. You had a certain time criteria, always changed all the time. So I went there. I went to this race, and I didn't know anything about age group or anything at the time. I was just doing it for fun. I still did it for fun, but I turned up. I came fifth. A lot of things went wrong. I kept. I think 3 or 4 times had to do my shoes up, didn't tie them up properly, so that slowed me down. So I learned a lot of mistakes. And then one of the people there said, "Oh, you've done quite well for your first one. You should try for the aquathlon team for the age group." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know, it's a bit, it's a bit scary." So I thought about it, and I did a few more. I started getting better, and then I started training more and swimming more, and then in September I was about 2.5 minutes quicker. So, and then that I qualified for Châteauroux 2016 European Championships. So I turned up in the 2016 season. I turned up. So I had two big races. Never done a big race before. Normally I do a local race where there's like 30 to 100 people. Turned up to the national championships 2 weeks before the European Championships, and prior to that I was thinking, I better take this seriously, so I had to get like a proper triathlon coach and a strength coach to help me, because I was getting a lot of injuries on the way. I nearly quit in 2013 with calf injuries and the serious Achilles injuries. That gives me problems now, but I'm able to manage it.
Yeah.
So I'm backtracking myself a bit, but so I turned up to the national championships 2 weeks before the Europeans. No clue about a big race. Got in the middle, and the first thing that happened to me when on the start line in the water, as we started, a nervous wreck. My goggles. Someone knocked my goggles out. I've learned now to put your goggles underneath your hat. Yeah. So so I managed to catch them. I came out in the swim, like, because it's all age groups, a massive trail of people. So obviously running was my strong point at the time. So I was able to catch a lot of people. But I didn't think I did really well. When I crossed the line, I found out I came third in my age group, so I was over the moon.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So that was good for a debut. And then 2 weeks later, went to the European Championships. Nervous wreck. I just wanted to enjoy it. I was really nervous. I just wanted to enjoy the moment and just give my best. The only thing I didn't want to come last in my age group. So I wanted to, I didn't want to make up numbers. Just wanted to not come last. I trained really hard for it. And I remember I was ill the week leading up to it. I had to rest a few days because I had a severe cold. I even tried training on the Wednesday and I couldn't run. So I rested up till the race was on a Saturday. So I rested up, turned up to the race. It was a non-wetsuit and it was a bit tough. The swim, came out in the swim, looked at transition, where in my age group I was last, and I just thought I can't come last. So I just thought I might never get a chance. So gave it my all, and I just remember picking off people one by one the run, and then it was about 400 meters from the end. I was convinced that there was 2 people in my age group in front. They were battling for. I was convinced they were battling for 3rd place, and I had 400 meters left to go. And I thought, what should I do? So my mentality was that I'd clench my fists, sprint, grit my teeth, and if I collapse, at least I tried. So I basically sprinted the last 400 meters and absolutely shattered when I got to the line, but it worked, and on my debut I got bronze medals. So that sort of started the journey off. So I was really happy with that, and I compete. Off the back of that, I was able to compete at the World Aquathlon Championships, part of the World Triathlon Series in Cozumel. 2017, I competed at the Nationals. I went one better. I got a silver, so I was over the moon with that. I unfortunately got a very rare injury. I don't touch wood. I don't get many injuries these days. I've learned from my mistakes. So I turned up to the Europeans with an injury a few weeks prior. I came 9th. I was hoping for a bit higher, but I wrote it off because of the injury. It was an older injury that came back. Went to the Canada, Penticton, lovely place, as team captain for the British triathlon team. And I was over the moon because I had to sort out, I had to arrange meetups, dinner for the 68 athletes, I think it was, and their family. So we meet up the night before the race and have like pasta. It was nice Italian we went to. Running, we did runs and swim recce's. So that was really good, and that was probably one of my best races. I placed 6th in the World Championships there. I learned a lot from that race, and I was over the moon. 2018 was a really good season as well. I won the national championships for the first time. I was over the moon when I crossed the line. Basically, that was after the World Championships. So I finished 9th at the World Championships, had a really good race, really strong competition. That was in Denmark. And everything I've learned over years, I put into that. And I was team captain for that as well. And and then I think 7 days later was a national. So I was completely knackered and didn't expect to get anywhere. And I managed to win it. So I was really happy with that. And I did the Europeans later on in October. Again, I learned from mistakes. I came 14th. I had a really bad race and learned from what I shouldn't have done. So that was that. And then last year was probably my best season. I came 7th in the World Championships. First British guy, I think first European guy as well. I think. So I was really happy with that. And then but that wasn't my main race. I was trying to I wanted to target the Europeans and try and get in the podium. And I came out. Well, I did the Europeans in Romania. Unfortunately, leading up to the race, I had this weird pain in my foot about a week before, and it got worse. Now the physios couldn't find out what was wrong with it. They scanned it, nothing. prodded around, nothing. I thought it was a stress fracture, but it wasn't. Turned up to the race. After the race, it had gone. So it'd been there for the whole week. No idea what it was. Turned up to the race. I didn't think I had a great swim. I think I came out of the water 4th or 6th, but I managed to make it up on the run and sort of knew who I was running against. It was a fallout course, so it was quite tricky. But I had my wife and friends shouting where I was. But then they were telling me, at one point they were telling me a 4th, then they were telling me a 3rd, then they were telling me a 4th. But I overtook the leader on lap 3, and I was convinced I was winning because the guys in front of me in the other age groups were the faster guys, and normally I'm not near them, not that close near them. So I knew I was up there. When I crossed the line, they said my name as a European age group champion, my age group, and I was just over the moon. I couldn't believe it. I was completely shocked and really happy. And then in September, I went back to the nationals, and again things went wrong on the night before. I've got some friends that compete as well, and their alarm went off in their hotel at 1 o'clock in the morning. Now, the problem with that is I'm a very light sleeper, so if something wakes me up, I can't get back to sleep. So the fire alarm went off. I woke up, knackered, was still up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I had to get up and go for a walk. Managed to get about an hour and a half sleep after that. Turn up to the race. They even told me, they said, "Oh, you look awful." And I said, "Well, didn't that alarm keep you up?" And they were like, "Oh, it's our alarm. We didn't know, blah, blah." And we were like, "Oh, okay." So it wasn't their fault. And yeah, I turned up to the race absolutely shattered. I was swimming, didn't think I had a good swim. Got onto the run, felt really good on the run. And I sort of knew who I'm racing against. And about a cave at the end, there was a guy next to me who I'd overtook at the Europeans. So I knew I was up there, and I thought, what do I do? I've got nothing left now. So I decided to just try and pull away a little bit, play a bit of tactical game, and it worked. I pulled away, and I was over the moon when I won it and defended it. And so that's it, really. My journey went from not running, not swimming, to winning medals in my age group. So something I'm very proud of, and it also shows that whatever you can achieve anything if you just work hard and keep at it, and it does pay off.
So obviously you've moved from aquathlon into triathlon. Why did you make that change, and what are you aiming to achieve in the next couple of years?
Okay, well, I like a challenge. So when I first started running, I liked running, got loads of PBs, etc., and got better. And I could probably be better if I just concentrate on running. But I wanted to change. I like mix it up. So for me, like, I can't just do running. So I did. So I did these aquathlons, enjoyed them. I was scared because with cycling, I've been put off so much by it, because in 2012 and 13, when I did start have a little. I did a few triathlons. I kept getting really serious injuries, and I was convinced it was to do with the bike. Obviously, it's not. Basically, I bought a bike in 2015 and never used it. So the idea to do triathlon. So I thought I better start using it. So I started going to the bike a couple of times a week, and I did one at the end of 2018. At the end of 2018, I did a triathlon and came second. So with limited cycling training. So I thought, well, I want a new challenge. So I'll make 2:19 my last year of doing aquathlons, and then I'll give 2:19 and 2:20 like a real big go for triathlon, and try and get into the age group team that way. I only wanted to represent the team once, just to say that I've been there, but I want to give it my all. So I got. So I went to the nationals, and I got a roll down place for this year. I missed out by, I think, 0.01 of a second. So I was next in. So as soon as someone dropped down, I had a roll down place. I could have probably got that if I was a bit more brave on the bike. It was raining, and I slowed down on the bike because I'm not used to it. But I trained more on the bike last year, and I've spent more time this year. And so my idea was to go to this European Championships, aim for top 10, but deep down I like to push harder. So my my goal was to take a year out next year, and just enjoy, like, not, well, I enjoy it anyway, but just to not have the pressure of racing. So I sort of had toned down my races this year, but had some key races. So I was going to do the National Triathlon Championships, and I wanted to try and podium for that. And obviously with the Europeans, I was getting better and better on the bike, and my running and swimming was improving through the winter. So I was deep down going to target the top end of the top 10.
Yeah.
So obviously what's happened now, and like the I was going to go to the qualifiers this year, to try and qualify for the World Championships at Bermuda, but I wasn't sure if I was actually going to do that. So next year, well, it depends what happens this year. I still want to try and, I'm hoping I can still compete in Malmo in August, but I don't think that's going to happen. I decided next year I still will have another go next year, and then have a quieter year in 2022. So I'm sort of delaying the reaction, really, because me and my wife want to start a family, so I wanted not to have pressure of training, because I like to be 100% committed with all my training.
Yeah.
So, and give it my all. So yeah, we'll just see what happens this year, and then I'll play next year by year. But it looks like it's going to be another year next year.
Yeah. I think we're all sort of working on that basis, that this year is probably going to be a year out, if you like.
Yeah.
It's a year to improve maybe the aerobic base, the strength work, and if we are doing any top end work, then it's probably advisable that we do make sure we quarantine ourselves for a time after, so we don't get ill from suppressing our immune systems. It sounds like you're doing the right thing, and it sounds like the aquathlon move to triathlon is a really good choice. Now, just to kind of finish up, I wanted to ask if you've got any top tips to stay physically and mentally well during this time, because obviously you mentioned that, you know, we are going through the coronavirus. Yeah. Everyone knows it, but how can people stay physically and mentally well?
Well, the first thing is that you need to back off your training. There's still people trying to train for a marathon that's in October, for example. They don't know it's going to go ahead.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't be over training. That's the first key. So you should be really cutting down the intensity, and, as you said, like going to aerobic. Nearly 90% of my training now is in zone 2 heart rate. I've gone from doing like a really hard session on a Tuesday, so that would be a hard bike session followed by a hard run session, a really hard session on a Friday, exactly the same, and then I'd have a hard swim session in the week as well. So I've basically, obviously the swimming's been cancelled, so I just do one hard session a week, and that's Friday, and that's just a real hard day. Then I rest on the Saturdays, complete rest day. Now that's another thing, people are not resting. Like, people are seeing that these like uncertain times with COVID and stuff are a time to go and do as much as you can, or take up a new sport and stuff. And there's people training twice a day when they're not used to it. It's all right if you're used to it, and you know what you're doing, but there's people training, like going out for running, they're cycling in the evening, but they're not used to it, or these people running every day. Training should mean something, and should have, like, one, you should be enjoying it, and two, it should have a purpose. So I'm not a big lover of junk miles. So again, I think just make sure they have a purpose. You don't need to run mega miles. You don't need to rerun in 20 miles. Or, I mean, my runs are kept to 60 minutes. I do have one run a week where I go if I feel like it, I go 75 minutes. But that's a lot slower than I'd run the other two runs in zone 2. So more like a zone 1 probably.
Yeah. Just to interrupt you there, when you talk about zone 1 and zone 2, just for the viewers that aren't sure what that is, can you explain very briefly what zone 1 and zone 2 are?
Yeah, okay. So you have 5 zones across the board, whatever discipline you do. So I'm very much into like heart rate running. So running 60% your max, for example. So with zone 2 and 1, they're very much below that threshold, and up to 60% your heart rate max there. So zone 2, if I'm doing zone 2 training on the bike, that you're looking at my heart rate max is 179. On the bike, you're looking at zone 2 at 109 beats per minute. I know it's different. Running will be 130 beats per minute. So it's very low intensity training. It's more aerobic. Obviously, running slower or training slower actually makes you faster as well. So slowing it builds up endurance, speed, and also you can work on your technique as well and your breathing. There's like so much you can do, which improves. So that's really zone 1 and zone 2 focus for me. So I hope that answers the question.
It does, yeah. So during this period, what we're talking about is building that aerobic endurance and also your strength work as well. And then when we come out of quarantine, we're looking at adding that intensity back in, which gives you that race sharpness. And overall, when you do that over a period of time and you periodize the plan, it's called, isn't it? When you're trying to hit a peak, we're kind of optimizing that point when we're racing.
That's the thing. People they don't look at peaking cycles. They don't. They just train a lot of. I mean, you're looking at probably a percentage of like 90% of people probably train all year round without a proper break. Like I have a constant rest day once a week. If I need to, twice a week. Big race coming up, I taper and I have 2 days off in between the weeks. And at the end of the season, I have 2 to 3 weeks off doing nothing. And it helps your body recover, rebuild. So it's important that you don't overdo it at the moment, because you don't want to get, as you said, you don't want to get your immune system suppressed because of, well, you're likely to catch the virus if you illnesses, colds, all sorts. So you just make sure you don't want to like batter your body basically.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And doing that zone 2 and zone 1 running, are you finding that that's helping you mentally get through this crisis?
Yeah, see, I went on a study back in 2015 about heart rate training, and I'm very for with it. And people that I coach, I give them that training, and yeah, I find it's good because one, that your legs always feel relaxed, and you feel like, to be honest, you feel like you haven't done anything. You've gone out for a run, you come back, and you don't feel tired or anything. That's the way it's meant to be, that sort of training. But it's good because you can sit back, you've got a lot of thinking time, and just taking in like where I live, the natural beauty of like the countryside and the wildlife, just to sit back. And to be honest, if I was to carry on training hard now, to be honest, I don't know what I'm training for. Well, if my race goes or doesn't go ahead in August, I don't know. So again, like, and I know I'm not going to be up to scratch because I can't swim. So I think everything should have a purpose. So just working on endurance, like, and when I do run, taking it them zones 1 and 2, I'm looking at my breathing. I'm working on my breathing. I'm looking at my form, my technique. So I'm making sure I'm keeping that all top spec nicely, so I can keep at it.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think that's really important, that you are focusing on things that you can control, like you said earlier in the talk, and also on things that you can improve. So it gives you those micro goals through this particular time to get you through. So when you come out of this season, you're ready to go again, you're ready to train, you're ready to hit some of the intense stuff. Now, before we wrap up, Yiannis, I just wanted to ask, obviously, you do a lot of blogging, you're an ASICS front runner, from my understanding, and you've got a few different sponsors. Now, this is the opportunity for you to plug your YouTube stuff, your social media, and any other sponsors that you want to. So the floor is yours.
Okay, well, firstly, I'm going to have to say thanks to all my, thanks firstly for interviewing me and having the time. And secondly, thanks to all my sponsors. Without them, I probably couldn't afford to do races and stuff. They help a lot. Just even some kit goes a long way. So thanks to them. If you want to follow I've got a YouTube channel. Follow me. It's my name, Yiannis Christodoulou. Just search me. I'm on Instagram. That's my main platform, really. So it's Yiannis Christodoulou, and I'm on Twitter as well. And I'm at Yiannis_83. So if you want to follow me, yeah, I always give out help and encouragement and show my journey basically, and help to
Brilliant.
motivate people.
Yeah, and I think that's really key is, you know, you've come from a place of not exercising where you watched the Olympics, it inspired you into sport. And then you've come out a national and European age group champion. And now you're in a place where you can give back to others to hopefully help them do the same. So, Yiannis, I just want to thank you for joining me. And make sure you guys stay tuned. Over the next few episodes, we're going to be interviewing some more athletes, those who support them, and those in the wellbeing community. Thanks again for joining us on Sport and Mental Health. My name's Ian. All the best.